of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You scared me.
Good evening, everyone. We have a pretty busy agenda tonight, so we're going to try to fly through this as quick as we can. Just going to note that both Selectman Paulus and Selectman Collins are absent tonight. We do still have a quorum. First order of business is going to be approval of minutes. We have two sets. We'll do these together. Item A1, March 23rd, 2026, and item 2, July 20th, 2026, which was a special meeting.
Motion to approve both?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Our second order of business tonight is going to be a public hearing. I'll start by reading this little notice. We'll seek a motion to open it, and then we'll get going with that. Public hearings B, 7 p.m., Sateki Inc., DBA, Sateki Asian Fusion Sushi and Lounge Bar, 683 Linwood Avenue, Whitensville. Annie Lee, manager, request for weekday entertainment license, entertainment to include live music, recorded music, and karaoke. Fridays and Saturdays, 8:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Present, I believe we have Ms. Lee, if you'd like to come forward. We do have some information in our packets. If you'd like to take a seat, you can tell us a little bit more as to what you'd like to get completed with the application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, my name is Attorney Henry Knight. I'm working with Ms. Lee here.
Thank you.
So they just want to hear a little bit more about the entertainment license request.
Oh, okay. About the entertainment license, we have for the weekend day, we open this regular hour, like 11:30 to 9:30. For the weekend, we have 11:30 open. Unfortunately, we Friday, Saturday, be ended midnight.
Ms. Lee has a room, they've done a lot of renovations over there. Thank you to the board. But they've done a lot of renovations over there. There's a room set up that's kind of separate, that's tucked away, that could be great for karaoke, should this board be able to grant that license, and also for some live entertainment. And there's also a separate room where parties can gather, have a private little function area as well. So that would be the basis of her request at this time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'll turn it over to the board for any comments or questions. Start down here. Selectman Epigomian?
For the live entertainment, will the volume be too loud where it might disturb the residents in the surrounding area?
We will control the just lower room. We have that's like a separate room for the karaoke. The beside we have the room that's lower. I don't think so get too loud. I will control.
The room where she's going to be doing this kind of entertainment is also sectioned off.
Little lower, yeah.
Of all the rooms in the building, would probably be the most noise-dampened room. And also, she's a very considerate person, and she would accommodate any kind of request from anyone. And I don't anticipate that it would ever be loud enough to have anyone having any troubles right there.
I might have overlooked, but what were the hours of the live entertainment? Records or?
The live entertainment, I believe, was for a Friday, Saturday evening between the hours of 9:30 and 11, or 9 to 11.
For the open time.
Oh, not for the live entertainment.
Live entertainment.
It would be primarily Friday and Saturday nights
Friday,
during those
Saturday.
afternoon, evening hours.
Live music, yeah, afternoon, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Selectman Salzo?
I'm good.
Great. And no questions from me either. Seeking, any member of the public have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Hearing none, seeking a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Selectman Epigomian?
Yes.
Selectman Salzo?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Make a motion that we grant the entertainment license for, excuse me, for the Asian Fusion Sushi and Lounge Bar.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
you very
you. And
much.
with the
Thank
time being 7:01, we can open into our, or 7:05, we can open up into our next public hearing. Application to transfer all alcoholic beverages, common particular license from Emperor's Garden LLC DBA New China Pacific to Sateki Inc. DBA Sateki Asian Fusion Sushi and Lounge Bar, 683 Linwood Avenue, Whitensville. Again, Annie Lee, manager. I'm seeking a motion to open.
So move.
Second.
Selectman Salzo?
I'm good.
Selectman Pagumian?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. And this seems pretty standard. If you folks have anything you'd like to add for this one, we'd be more than happy to hear it, but doesn't seem like there should be any issue from our end.
Nothing to add. I would just like to thank Melissa Cimentaro and Mrs. Suzianko over at the clerk's, or over in Town Hall. The whole town has been wonderful in helping Annie get this business up and running, and so we just want to say thank you very much for all your help and assistance.
Thank you. Any questions, Selectman Salzo?
I'm good. It's pretty straightforward.
Selectman Pagumian?
No questions.
See,
Thank you
any
very
questions from members of the public? Motion to close?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Selectman Salzo?
Yes.
Selectman Pagumian?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
I make a motion that we grant change in venue, the application for an all alcohol beverage common vicular license for Empire Garden LLC, the new chain of China Pacific, which is now called the Asian Fusion Sushi and Lounge Bar.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations. I just want to, been there twice. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Henry. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to resignations. We have a couple tonight. We'll just do these all together. Vote to accept D1, Michaela Sheridan Land Trail Stewardship Committee, Member at Large, and 2, Benjamin Jadanian Community Preservation Committee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we'll get into appointments by the town manager. Vote to affirm Matthew Marcotte, Building Inspector and Fence Viewer. If you'd like to come forward, we do have your information in our packet. Pass it on over to you if there's anything you'd like to add.
No, I just look forward to the opportunity to work for the town of Northbridge and the residents.
Thank you very much. Start down here, Selectman Salzo. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for coming forward. Pretty good resume, and you're friends with Jamie, so that's all I need to know. So you're good with me.
Selectman Pagumian.
No, thank you for coming forward, and between Jamie, yourself, and Tom Parente, this is Milford 2.0. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
And I echo these gentlemen's sentiments. With that,
Motion to approve
Second.
the appointment by the town manager.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Amen.
And then item 2, Michelle Larson, Senior Administrative Assistant / HR Assistant. If you'd like to come forward, similarly, we have your information in our packet. If there's anything you'd like to share with the board.
Well, I'm certainly happy to be coming on board, happy to be helping serve a community that I lived in for 18 years. I built a house and raised my children here and ended up leaving a few years ago, but I haven't gone very far. I enjoy the town. I haven't been to that restaurant yet since it's not been China Pacific. I know she's gone, but I heard it was very good as well, so kind of looking forward to that. Anyway, no, I'm just happy. I think this will be a great opportunity, a great move, and I intend to be a wonderful asset.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll turn it over to the board. Start down here, Selectman Pagumian.
No, I just like your resume, and I like the woman who was sitting next to you and the one who will be retiring, and you'll be a tremendous asset to the town of Northbridge and to them. Thank
Well, I
you.
have big shoes to fill, I can tell, but I will do my best.
Thank you.
Selectman Salzo.
Excellent resume. Thank you for coming forward. And if this is what the big man over here wants, I'm good with it.
I echo these gentlemen. Amazing resume, definitely going to be a huge asset to the town. And I had spoken with the town manager, and it seems like you were very much stuck out as a prime choice. So we're very fortunate to have you here in town, and I'm looking forward to getting to work with you.
That's wonderful. Thank you for the compliments. I appreciate it. It's a great way to start.
With that,
Motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Continuing on with appointments by the Board of Selectmen, vote to appoint Matthew Marcotte, Safety Committee, alternative.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Elizabeth Beaudry, Land Trail and Stewardship Committee, OSRP, Open Space and Recreation Plan, representative. Liza did submit some information that we do have in our packets.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then, John Moraes, Board of Assessors.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And finally, George Murray, Safety Committee Representative at Large.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. Is there anyone here tonight for citizens' comment or input? Hearing none, we're going to move along to decisions. Item G is going to be moved to a future agenda item, so we'll pass over that for now. Down to item H. Open Sky Community Service, Inc., 50 Douglas Road, Whitensville, Mass. Request for one-day wine and malt licenses for annual Valley Bag Toss event, Saturday, September 19th, 2026, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. The information seems standard in our packet, unless anyone has any concerns.
Annual event.
Yeah.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then item I, ambulance rate study. Present, we have our fire chief, Dave White, as well as our assistant, or deputy fire chief, excuse me. I'll invite both of you gentlemen to come forward. We do have some information in our packet, but I'll pass on over to you guys.
Thank you. Okay. So a few months back, we put together this study, which you guys have all seen. We haven't raised the rate on the ambulance since, I believe, 2016. I've never had to raise it, but we're getting to the point where we need to bump it up to keep up with the, as you saw, we're quite a distance off from the other normal rates. And to keep ourselves solvent, we're looking to raise it up.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to the board for any questions or comments that they may have. I'll start down here with Selectman Selzo.
I mean, the only question I have is, do you think I mean, obviously we have to raise it. We don't have a choice in that. We can't lose money on it. Do you think the rate of no pay will go up if the rate goes up, or do you think it'll pretty much stay the same?
I think
It
it'll
is
probably
what it
stay the
is.
same. The HMO is the big one,
Mm-hmm,
where we collect 100% on it now.
yeah.
I hate to put it on the onus on one thing, but unfortunately, there's no other way to raise. Your Medicare rates are fixed, your Medicaid rates are fixed. The only thing that is left is the HMO, so I see it as hopefully a way to get us back up into the black area.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Selectman Pagumian.
So regardless of how much we raise the rate, Medicare and Medicaid, they're at fixed.
Yep.
They will not go up and none of that.
Not unless
So
the government, the
both-
federal government approves Medicare, and unless the state approves, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. So they're fixed rates, we've signed into an agreement with them, that's what we get.
Okay. So which ones, how much you want to go up gradually?
They have two different options that they presented, but I'll let the chief walk you through it.
Yeah. So option one, we would raise the rate 25% each year for the next 3 years, and just gradually move it up into where it should be. The other option was just a flat rate, do it right away. But I think the option one was the better one to go with over the 3-year period.
I think just for the people's benefit at home, obviously you can look up the packet online on the Selectmen's webpage, but in comparison to some of the towns around us, our BLS rate is 50% of the average. Our ALS rate is more than that. It's probably 40%, 45% of the average.
Yep.
So obviously we're well below the standard in terms of what towns charge around us, and we're only hurting ourselves by not coming up at some point. So I guess, I know you're still asking questions of the board, but I know one of the biggest questions is if you had the choice between option one and option two, what would you do?
I would go option one if we could. That's why I listed it as one.
Okay.
Any further questions, Selectman Pagumian?
No.
Awesome. And very much appreciate you guys coming forward to present this information to us tonight. The info that you put in our packet, I think, really kind of spells this out. And we do kind of need to do something, take action here. And I would agree. I think that the first option is the better of the two. It is also important to note that what we're seeking to do is basically just, as Adam said, charge insurance companies what other towns around us are seeking to do. This is not being passed on directly to the consumers or the payers or anything like that. My one question is for private pay balances that patients are legally responsible for, I was wondering if you could kind of walk us through a little bit of what the collection process looks like.
So we have a billing company. They handle the collection process. They run through a series, I think it's 5 times they'll send the bill out. And then it'll go to a collection company we use over in Milford, but at that point,
That's where we end up coming to you guys and writing off
Writing it off, yeah.
what doesn't get covered. Sometimes patients are deceased and they can't cover that bill, or sometimes they're just not paid.
I think we laid it out kind of the best we could as far as the percentage realized under private pay. We get about 50%. You know, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. It goes up and down. That's the thing, there's no hard science to it. Even, this is figured out on 1,730 ambulance runs. There was an average over like the last 10 years. We've been getting busier and busier and busier, so that number's probably, that's just an average number. But the rates are the same. That's what we got.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
I had one other question with how busy you guys are. Is that is every town that way? Or is that just the business in
As far as
general? Or
ambulance-
are
as
you
far as
guys
ambulances?
busier than others?
I think we're,
We're the busiest one in the valley.
Yeah.
Uxbridge is pretty busy too, but we have 2 nursing homes, so that keeps us hopping right away.
Yeah.
We
plus
have a-
urgent care facilities, plus elderly. We have a high elderly population in
Yeah.
town, a high demographic rate. We have mills that have been converted over to over 55, such as the cotton mill across the street or 670 Linwood Ave. So obviously with the population in that demographic, it requires more of our service.
Because I mean, when I first started getting the reports, when Adam was sending them to me, I asked him that question, right? I'm like, is this like normal? It seems high. Like it
That's-
jumped out to
We're
me
very
when I
busy.
get it,
We
yeah.
stay very busy between, EMS calls is obviously our the bulk of what we do and the bulk of what most fire departments do that provide an ambulance service.
Yep.
But with that being said, that amount of demand for that particular service also takes away from our firefighting too. So it's a balance that we try to do.
Yeah.
This will help us. It'll help us kind of bridge that gap, hopefully,
Yeah.
and bring us back out of the red into the black, so. But we are very busy. We stay,
Yeah, no,
the fellas, they stay very busy at the fire station.
Like I said, every week when I read that report, it just jumps out at
Yeah,
me how
it's-
busy you guys are, and I was always curious as to, is that everywhere, or is that just kind of?
No, it's not everywhere, but it's
I'm glad someone reads my
Us.
report.
it's busy.
Can you just expand on that and explain transports? I don't think the general public understand what transports are. So obviously we have a fire call, when someone comes on, you guys are going out and covering those. You're gonna have car accidents and you're gonna have all the ambulance calls that you just mentioned, but explain transports. I don't think the public understands,
Go ahead.
why are we transporting and
So an ambulance call, so obviously someone has falls are probably the highest percentage of what we handle in the town of Northbridge. If you look at the statistics, our ambulance goes out predominantly, a lot for falls, right? So we use that as an example. Somebody falls at the cotton mill, and the ambulance is called, they go there, the paramedics assess the patient, they determine that they need to be transported to the hospital because they may have fractured their hip. Obviously, they package the patient up, they bring them outside of the ambulance, they do a couple of things, they may start an IV, they may administer pain medicine, and then they transport. Now, we transport to either Milford or to the Worcester hospitals. I would say it's kind of a split between Milford and UMass as to where we go. But for something like that, we would probably transport to UMass. So that's a 15-minute transport. Depending on how busy UMass is, we may have to, what they call hold the wall. So our paramedics get there, they bring the patient to a nurse at a triage desk. The nurse triages them really quick and says, okay, stand over there, we'll get to you in a couple of minutes. They may tie our our ambulance up for 45 minutes. But a typical transport to the city and back, I would say, takes us about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. That's a typical transport for an ambulance.
The whole basis is this today, the EMS today, is that we're bringing more and more of the emergency room into the back of that truck, so we're providing the same stuff that they do in the emergency room in a faster fashion.
Yeah, they provide a high level of care. They're highly trained paramedics.
Yeah.
And we try to we do our best to keep our service kind of at the cutting edge of technology, right? Medicine is changing all the time, technology is changing all the time, and what we're able to provide to the public is changing. So we coordinate that with our medical control doctor at Milford Hospital and work with her as to, you know, when protocols change, what we're allowed to do. We just were able to purchase, at the end of last year, video laryngoscopes. So when we have to intubate a person, the way we would do it before is you would use the instrument and go into their, you know, throat, and you would use a light to see. Now we have a screen that shows, with a camera that shows us directly into their throat. It increases our success rate. So as technology changes and as we're able to buy these things and purchase them, our ability to provide a better service to the community goes up.
Is it a faster turnaround time if you have to go to Milford as opposed to Worcester?
It
Depends on the day.
It depends on the day, and it is, yes, because it's a little closer, but we're also, we have to follow state protocols which say kind of where we transport a patient to.
Yeah.
So they have to be transported to the appropriate facility. So someone that is suffering from a traumatic injury can't go to Milford. They have to go to UMass because it's a level 1 trauma center. Someone that's having a cardiac event such as a heart attack, they have to go to either St. V's or UMass because that's where they have interventional cardiology. So some of our ambulance calls, the patient's condition or their diagnosis dictates where they go.
Is that most calls?
I would say probably half of our calls go to UMass, but I could find it, but
No,
it's
just
about
curious, yeah.
We go
It's about half.
to UMass a lot more than we used to go.
yeah, a lot more. A lot of
And
people are choosing to
unfortunately,
go there.
everything in the city goes to UMass as well, and everything around us is going to UMass, so that's why we call holding the wall. And they've been trying to address it, but it's not an easy thing.
It's
to
not
address.
uncommon for our ambulance to be at Milford for an hour,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or at UMass for an hour.
And
That's
now that
common.
UMass has taken over Milford,
Yeah.
And if both trucks go and they're both there and they're both stuck there because you can't just leave the patient, right? You
Yeah.
have to stay. So both of our ambulances could potentially be tied up for a couple of hours. And when you factor in, you know, if we're doing 10 ambulance calls at an hour apiece or an hour and a half to 2 hours apiece, that's a significant amount of time that our staff is tied up out of our community and not in the fire station. So that's why you always hear us, and it's not that we're not trying or Adam's not trying. I mean, it's difficult to get manpower. Everybody needs it, the police, the DPW. We're not the only department in town when we realize that.
Does it happen where both ambulances are out and you get another call?
About
All the time.
74% of the time.
74%.
We've figured it out, it's about 74%.
all the time, it's a constant thing.
But we've taken steps to try to
Yeah.
help that during our busy hours, right?
If it's an emergency, does it come from like Oxbridge or somewhere
Sure,
else?
we
for
rely
that?
on
Yeah.
mutual aid, and we call back our firefighters. If both ambulances are out, the chief has a policy where as soon as both ambulances transport or they're out of the station, we call back off-duty firefighters
Yeah.
to come in and cover. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not. It just depends on people's availability and if they're home. So, we do our best to cover as best as we can.
Yeah.
I will give a shout out to our medics. Out of all the viable cardiac arrests they had last year, they had a 40% save rate, which is almost unheard
Above,
of.
that's much higher than the national standard. So our guys did a really good job last
Compared
year.
that to 20 years ago where the save rate was like 5%.
They had a
So-
40% save rate, so that's really good.
The system is working, that part of it's working, it always comes down to finance.
Great. No further questions from me. Gentlemen, are we ready to support one of the options?
Vote to approve option 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it. Next is item J, Fall Annual Town Meeting, October 27th, 2026. 1, temporary construction easement, vote to sponsor warrant articles. And 2, selectmen vote to place their their articles on the warrant. If anyone has any questions for the town manager, everything looked pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is, I don't want to say a lot of it. We always start off with a template for the fall town meeting, which is prior year bills, amending the budget from the spring, and then any capital projects that we want to move around. And then one thing that might be new to you guys is Article 7, that's rescinding authorization to borrow. That's any gap between what we got permission to spend and what we actually spent. We want to rescind that and bring it back down to what we actually did, in the spirit of the taxpayers, right? And then Article 8 you guys are aware of. Article 9 is a sewer bylaw that we're mandated to do through EPA, and we've been working with DEP, EPA, and our environmental council on that to draft a new bylaw. And then Article 10, if you recall, the Providence Road project that Bill Renard is doing and working with the planning board on the 40R, part of that showed at the very back end, accessing the Northbridge High School rear of the property by the upper fields and possibly adding some parking. So this would just establish board authorization to put together that construction easement. So these are your articles, except for one that's a capital article from the school. So of the 10, you're on 9 of them. And then the school has talked to me about transferring leftover funds from the middle school boiler project and completing the middle school auditorium project. I think it's for redoing all the cushions. So that's it for now. No petitions as of yet. The warrant closes next Friday, August 28th at noon.
Thank you very much. Any questions from any of the board members?
You want, Mr. Chairman, do you want both taken together or both?
I think you could just do number 2. I mean, one was kind of added after the fact. That's why we did that, but it's all part of the same. It's your article. Article 1 is one of your articles, just as the other 8 are.
Okay, make a motion that we place the selectmen's articles on the town warrant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And item K, monetary donations from Marston W. Keller Trust. Vote to accept 1 Pine Grove Cemetery and 2 Whitensville Social Library.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With a thank you. And a vote to accept monetary donations from 1 Chase/Harris, $500. Bob Treeworks, $500. Stay a While Coffee, $500. And Tree the Way Brothers, $500. Katz Financial Services, $250 to help defray the operating costs associated with the Playground and Recreations Commission's Men's Softball League operating cost, including equipment, team shirts, and umpire fees.
Motion to support and send a letter to the individuals thanking them for their generous donation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And item M, Brian Hanley, DBA, Northbridge Salvage, Moon Hill Road, map 31, parcel 27, class 3 license. Request to change business name to Moon Hill Salvage LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, for decisions, item N, Pine Grove Cemetery deed, vote to approve the sale of Lot 38A Elm Ave North, John and Karen Vomicello.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. That concludes decisions for tonight. We're going to move into discussions. Item O, Senior Center Project Update, BHA and Vertex. We do have some information in our packet. And if you want to kind of just run us through a little bit of an update.
Steve, is the laptop there?
It is, yeah.
So you can just use the arrows on that, and our cable gurus in the back will switch it over.
All right. Good evening. My name is Steve Kirby. I'm with the Vertex Companies, OPM for the Northbridge Senior Center project. So providing an update of the project tonight. We'll be going over the design progress, the schedule milestones, and the recent design plans and renderings from BH+A. Design progress, construction documents, as of today, 100% CDs were submitted by BH+A. Vertex is now reviewing those documents. We have been continuing the working group and focus meetings on an as-needed basis. We've gone through town department and committee meetings, and those are now complete. The site plan changes from the fire chief were approved by the planning board. And what we're really into right now is contractor pre-qualification. The state requires any construction project, public construction project that is estimated at over $10 million requires both general contractor and the file sub-bid pre-qualification. We sent out the RFQ in July. We got the SOQs, Statement of Qualifications, back on the 5th of August. A very good turnout. 17 general contractors and 80 subcontractors were submitted. We're going to, there's a whole process of reviewing those, making sure that they've submitted everything they're supposed to, and then also evaluating it. A lot of it has to do with references. Vertex has been in a number of projects that are undergoing pre-qualification now. We're seeing some of the same contractors and subcontractors, so it's good because we have a lot of the references done already, and we can reuse those on multiple projects as long as they're relatively recent. So we key on the general contractors first. We've got 17, maybe not all of them pre-qualify, and the ones that do, we may not get all of them to bid on the project, because by the time they pre-qualify and the project goes out, they may have won something and they don't. But I'm thinking we're probably going to get 10 GCs, which is very good for competition and getting a better price. Obviously, we'll do, the process is we'll do the file sub-bidders first, and then 2 weeks later, the GCs will come in. So that pre-qual process has been ongoing and will continue. Some of our permitting and design meetings that have completed. We had our second technology meeting. We had the meeting with the former building commissioner to go over the design and the kitchen review. We met with the disability committee, again, pre-qualification kickoff meeting, and that's ongoing. The planning board administrative modification based on the chief's request for access to the parking lot. We did a second interior finishes meeting, and we also coupled that with the COA and the Friends update. And fairly recently, we met with the Board of Health to go over the kitchen review and equipment. We also have now gotten approval or proposal from Eversource for the gas line for the generator, and we're very close to finalizing things with Ngrid for permanent power. And we've also been dealing with Mass Save and Lidos, who is their consultant for the Path 1 incentives, for the energy incentives. So our project milestone dates, they probably haven't changed too much since we last gave an update. But again, construction documents has been going June to August. July, August is our contractor pre-qualification process. August 21st, we should be getting, at 80% CDs, we sent out documents to 2 estimators to get a final gut check estimate. We should be getting those back. We did get one back. Should be getting the second one back to 21st, which is this week. We'll do a reconciliation meeting and just make sure that we are still tracking on budget, but right now we should not have any issues with our budget. September to October, we're going to be bidding with file and general bids. Ideally, November, we'll be doing a contract award and starting what I'm calling the phase 1 construction from November of this year to December of next year at approximately 14 months. And then we'll do punch list closeout and try and get occupancy for February and get move-in for February to March, and also be doing some of the owner contracts, which is your furniture, your final AV, your IT. And I did break this up into 2 phases, because since we're finishing in December, they won't be able to do certain plantings and landscaping. So we'll come back in April when the planting season is amenable to what's going in, and finish up any kind of seasonal plantings and lawn. So we've got site plan, floor plans, and renderings from BH+A. This is the site plan, and probably from the last time that we met, this area here changed a little bit, and that was what the fire chief requested for access in and out of the parking lot. This originally was parallel to the cross street, but there was some access issues for the ambulance and for the apparatus. We also, these islands at one time were curbed islands, and now they're just striped islands. So makes everything, as far as emergency response, much easier for the chief. And that's what we went back to the planning board for, and they gave it as an administrative modification. Everything else is pretty much the same. You've got your cross street is down here at the bottom of the page. The school admin building's on the left. Building is here. We've got the patio and the potential bocce court in the back corner. We do have a pathway leading to the public parking off of Church Street, because that section right there is joined town property. And then we also have a sidewalk and access to the church's parking lot for overflow for the senior center use, and vice versa. If the church has something, they can use the senior center parking, because they're sort of, one works during the week, the other is on the weekends. Landscape plan, you've got some trees, but there's a lot of ground cover around the building. We made sure that, again, we had access for the fire department to the fire department connection. We've got a sidewalk going around the entire project, which provides emergency access or egress for the program rooms for the seniors in case of emergency. This is the floor plan. So on the right-hand side is your parking lot. This is the main entry right here. There's a little bit of a canopy that provides weather protection as people are being dropped off. Come in, the reception desk is right here, and that reception desk is situated so as access to the front door, but also access down the hallway to really monitor what the activity is in most of the areas. The administrative office is in this corner here. You've got single and gang toilet rooms in the middle. This is access, in the back is access to the attic for storage and access to mechanical equipment. This rear door is essentially your delivery door for deliveries and for kitchen supplies, because the kitchen is going to be situated right here. This room right in the very back is mechanical room. The kitchen is going to be for staff only. It is not open for public access, and they will have key cards for access. We've got, as we come down the main corridor, you got a conference room, you got a program room, you got an area here which is a lounge, which is sort of a meeting room in between all of the areas, and there's a nice rendering of it coming up for people to meet. And it also gives some overflow for the multipurpose room here. If there's a large event, people can mingle out in this area. There is a roll-up door to provide access for serving from the kitchen into this lounge area, and then also into the multipurpose room. There's a couple storage areas off of the multipurpose room for tables and chairs. And then you have more program rooms on this side of the building. And again, you have egress doors in many areas so that in case there's an issue, people can get out quickly. So here is a rendering view of the multipurpose room. This is from the kitchen facing essentially the corridor section of the entries into the multipurpose room. There's two ceiling levels. The ceiling level here is a little bit lower than the ceiling level. You can see that starts to slope up. These lines right here represent a roll-down partition so that you can divide the two rooms up and make better use of it for smaller meetings. This is the same room, just looking at it from the opposite corner, where you also see the exit doors out onto the patio area. This view is coming in the main entry. You've got the reception area here. And again, the reception can see both the entrance coming in and then the lounge area and a number of the entries to the rooms from one spot. And this is the small lounge area that's out in the corridor space, but it's basically separated by finishes, different flooring. It's got a electric fireplace, built-in bookshelves, a screen, a little bit different ceiling, just to sort of designate it as a special spot. And then from here, you've got the multipurpose room, my pointer is, and then the program rooms all around it. So an exterior rendering, this is looking at the building from Cross Street. Your entrance is here, and your parking lot is just to the left off of the rendering. And then this is a rendering from the parking lot looking towards the back of the building. But again, on this section right here, where you've got your flagpole, is the canopy for your entrance to the building. And that's my update.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the update. I'll turn it over to the board for any questions or comments. I'll start down here with Selectman Ampagumian.
I think the only real question that I have is with the gas pipeline. Okay, they're going to be digging up Cross Street.
Yes.
Will part of the project have that resurface, or are we going to go with Chapter 90?
Yeah, I talked with Jamie. We're going to, whatever utilities we have to tie into, we're going to tie into for the project, we're going to binder it back. And that road, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that road is on the list from Church Street to Linwood for the future. So we're not doing anything special in that area until after the construction is done. And I guess that road was on the list previously, but when the school was demolished and then this project was decided to go in this location, there's no sense in repaving that road if we're going to cut it.
If a contractor or a subcontractor turns in their proposal and your committee overlooks it and they find something missing, is that contractor or subcontractor allowed to correct it and then resubmit it, or if there's a deficiency, that person is out?
Depends on what it is.
This is,
How big is efficiency?
you're saying in their proposal?
Yeah.
This is going to be done electronically. It's low bid. They're going to plug in a number, submit it. If they make a mistake within the time period, they can withdraw their bid and resubmit it. But after the bid opening, that's their number. If they made a major error and they say that they made a clerical error, they can withdraw their bid if they're the low bidder. And that has happened. Someone's missed something. It's $1 million difference. They know that they made a mistake. They withdraw it, but it has to have a good reason. They have to prove what that reason is. They can't just arbitrarily say, we made a mistake. We ask them, what was the mistake?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Selectman Selzo.
I mean, everything looks good. If everything's on the timelines that it was supposed to be and you guys are happy, I'm happy.
I'm never happy, but I'm happy when we're
About
doing
this, how
the
about
ribbon
this, how
cutting.
about this?
And no questions from me tonight. Everything looks great, on schedule, on budget. Awesome news. So
Okay.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Steve.
Thank you.
See you Wednesday night.
Yes.
And
I have to change that, but go ahead, you can do this.
awesome. Item P, WRTA, Routes A and B Elimination and Alternatives Update. We have Nick Burnham from WRTA here to present for us. I'll invite you forward while the town manager is swapping presentations for you.
Good evening. I'm Josh Rick, the administrator for WRTA. Nick's unfortunately not able to join us today. Yes.
Yeah, it's electronic, he'll do that. I'm Doug Belanger, I'm chairman of the board for WRTA, and ironically, I'd be more comfortable up there. I'm
Yeah, I was
also
gonna say,
chairman of the select board in Leicester for 30 years, so I'm more comfortable up there than here. And yes, I'm insane, why would you do this for 30 years? But we'll get that out of the way. But
Well, thank you so much for having us today. Just going to jump in a little bit, Route A and B and the study that we conducted and kind of where we are today. So routes A and B are considered flag stop shuttles. Basically, they operate in weekdays between Northbridge and Grafton. The service was started in 2013, and the service was initiated using MBTA community assessment funds. Basically, under Deval Patrick, basically allowed to flex the MBTA assessments to spend locally as opposed to just giving it back to the MBTA. The intent of that flex back in 2013 was that the funding was going to fully fund routes A and B as they operate. The services can deviate up to 3/4 mile from their route. So basically, if someone lives off the corridor, they can call us a day in advance. We can go and pick them up and continue on the way. And these do operate as flag stops, meaning there's no actual physical infrastructure. We operate in 36 cities and towns, and really only the city of Worcester has bus stops today. We are working that as an administration to get more bus stop guidelines for everywhere else. But this is very normal that we have flag stops in this area. Route A, which you'll see here in red, operates between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and operates 7.6 revenue hours a day. And a revenue hour is kind of what the schedule has, so how many hours it operates for the public. It operates closed door, which means it doesn't have any passengers in Sutton or Millbury, except for dropping people off at Blackstone Valley shops to connect to Route 4. We have about 12 riders per day, or 1.6 riders per revenue hour on this route. On Route B, shown here in blue, operates a little bit more hours during the day, about 12.9 hours. There's one early trip, and all the trips after 5:15 were closed door between New Village and then the Grafton MBTA station. A little more ridership, a little more hours at 22 riders per day, but again, only 1.7 riders per revenue hour. Now, I keep using this, revenue hour term, and that's a measure of efficiency for us in the transit industry. And routes A and B are two worst performing in the system. So you'll see here in the graph here, 1.5 and 1.7, representing Route B and Route A. Obviously, it's not really fair to compare a shuttle bus here in Northbridge to maybe like Main Street in Worcester. We recognize that. However, certainly seeing 1.5, 1.7 is very low. Many of our COA services, demand response services, van services, operate 2 passenger revenue hour, and that's more door-to-door, curb-to-curb services. So it's definitely a red flag seeing very low efficiencies on these. In addition to all of that, there's been some significant cost changes for the WRTA when it comes to operating the service. Basically, under Chapter 161B, which is our enabling legislation, we're not allowed to directly operate the services, unlike the MBTA. So we contract out many of our services that are rubber tire. So basically, we cannot directly operate the services. And there was some big CBA changes with the labor union, which has increased the costs. And so that went into effect on September 1st, 2025, and we were able to absorb those cost increases for this service for this year. But we initiated the study in reflection of the fact that it was drastically increasing. So we had kind of 2 things going on: 1, historically low ridership, and 2, more costs coming down the pipe, which is basically the reason why we started the study. So basically trying to address the fact that there were these new cost impacts that eventually come back into the cherry sheets for the communities, and we want to make sure we have a proper study to inform those cherry sheets so that the town can be prepared for those studies would be. So we brought on board our planning consultant, Nelson Nygaard. They're an international, national transit planning firm, and basically had them assess all of the services in Grafton and Northbridge, look at the routes A and B, talk about the Council of Aging Services, volunteer driving programs, really give a whole picture of what's going on in the communities. In terms of study timeline, we started the study back in December 2025. We made the towns aware that we're going to go down this path. We shared the scope of work that we had with Nelson Nygaard, had a project kickoff meeting with the towns. We had a project launch back in February, did our field work before the snowstorms, shipped a lot of flyers. February and March, a lot of data analysis, identified service alternatives. In April, we came back and met with the towns again about what those alternatives were. We had our board meeting back in May, and that's when we got approval to have public meetings. We conducted public meetings in June, some in person right here in this room, as well as some virtual public meetings. We met back again with the towns back in late June, July to talk about what we're going to be doing next. On July 16th, we went to the board with some alternatives we're going to go through in a minute. They voted to eliminate routes A and B, and the last day of service will be August 28th. So some things that we saw when we're out there in the field, and you'll see here is basically a map that shows Northbridge here on the southern part of the map, then Grafton and going north. And what we observed was most of the ridership was actually right here in Northbridge. So again, 12 riders were observed, just like our data showed, and 24 riders observed on Route B. But most of that concentration of ridership was right here in Northbridge. So using that information, we kind of came up with two alternative service approaches. The first was to operate a reduced WRTA shuttle just in Northbridge and eliminate the Grafton portion. Again, the ridership had kind of demonstrated to be here, but again, wasn't a significant amount. So the idea with this shuttle would be basically 4 days a week service, 9 to 3, and basically would use that $140,000 worth of assessment without having to impact your cherry sheets or ask for increased funding on any of those things. Certainly it would benefit the busiest part of the routes, but certainly had limited operating schedule, might not be attractive to future riders, and there were certainly some concerns about future cost escalations as things are not getting cheaper, unfortunately. The second alternative we identified was discussing to implement WRTA's mobility management model to Grafton and the Northbridge Council on Aging Services. And basically that's a service for people that are seniors and individuals with disabilities in those two communities. And I'll get more into the MMM and following slides here, but basically in short, the mobility management model is basically a way in which WRTA assumes responsibility for the trip reservation process, customer servicing, scheduling, dispatching. We own the vehicle that the town would then operate. The town would hire the drivers just like they do today, and we would compensate the town for wages and fringe, the fuel, the insurance, and basically the town would serve the town directly and the surrounding community as well. The benefits to it is that the town's contribution to COAs would go down in terms of transportation side of the house, as we'd reimburse for all those expenses. There'd be no vehicle maintenance, as we would own the vehicles, we would maintain the vehicles, and customers can travel regionally, including medical appointments to Worcester, which aren't accomplished today. Some of the potential drawbacks that we've heard from other communities is that the trip reservation no longer involves a COA. Many times this is a way in which staff at COAs can talk to people that might not see regularly, which is just doing some health checks on them. Some trips might be handled by people that might not be regular Northbridge drivers. Let's say Grafton joined the model. Well, let's say there's 2 people at UMass Medical, 1 Grafton resident, 1 Northbridge resident. It's very likely that Grafton driver would bring that Northbridge resident home. So maybe a new face I see every now and then. And lastly, certainly the biggest drawback, it's only customers with disabilities and or those that are 60 years old. So in terms of the next steps, which I've already shared, the board did meet on July 16th. They voted to eliminate routes A and B. The last day of service is August 28th, and the WRTA is committed to continue to meet with the town to talk about the mobility management model. I do have more slides about the MMM, but I'm happy to pause here if there's questions.
Yeah, if I can, through the chair, I'm not used to saying that, but I do require it, so with respect. Our goal, the board's goal for WRTA is to provide as much service as we can, and I always relate it to my selectman's job and really yours. That is that we want to do everything. We can afford to do some things, and we all make tough choices. And so when this came up to a member, it was like, we don't want to reduce anything. We want to grow the service. But when you weigh the cost versus what's going on, the mobility model serves what I consider the most vulnerable part of our population, that is either over 60 or with health issues. And so for the money, it's what I, wearing all my hats, see as the only way we can go. And I truly represent the board in that. It's just one more tough choice you all make every year when you do your budgets. Everybody wants everything. There's $30 million worth of requests and $20 million available, or $50 million worth of requests and $40 million available. It comes down to choices. And so with respect, it's where we are at, but why we're here is to urge you to work with your folks in the various departments on the mobility to give some service. So one, I can sleep at night, and so can you. And then 2 is, as we grow, I went over with Josh earlier in your hallway, just the added fuel cost is not what we budgeted. And you're going through it, and we're going through it, and it's not looking much better. So I just wanted to share that with you. Our goal is not to cut service, but to grow service. But again, I identify with each and every one of you when we make choices. So I thank you for your time.
Any questions from either of the board members thus far?
I do have one question.
absolutely.
First, I know Doug from his days as a business agent in Local 1445.
Great pension.
There you go. How many people use this service that are under 60 that would be getting cut off? Just curious.
Yeah, we don't have any specific numbers on that, but we're seeing a total of 22 passengers a day on Route B, and we are seeing 12 on Route A.
All set, Selectman Epigamian?
So by eliminating the route, and if we go to the mobile management model, ridership is only limited to disability and those over 60 years of age only.
Those kids.
Okay. What happens to, if this is implemented, and you have a person who is 30 years old and wants to get on it to go up to the malls, the driver tells them, sorry, or is it or you gotta register or make an appointment first?
Yeah, so certainly with the mobility management model, there is a registration process, and you have to be 60 years older to make that reservation and/or an individual with a disability, and you call a day in advance.
How will WRTA put the propaganda or the flyer out to inform the residents of the town of Northbridge that if this is coming into place and that this is what's going to happen after August 28th, so that they're fully informed? And there's no massive phone calls to the town manager, why are you doing this? I depend on it.
I appreciate that. As Doug shared, this is certainly not something that we want to do, not something we strive to do, but the way that we've gone about informing customers that this is going away is, one, this has been a system banner on our webpage. So you go to the WRTA website today, it says right at the top of it, Route A and B to be eliminated. We also have an app called Transit App, and that has been the very first message when you load that app up, that you see that Route A and B has been canceled. Our customer service team, when someone calls in, has been informing people that Route A and B are being canceled. All the flyers on board the vehicles that operate on those services saying the Route A and B are being canceled. So we're using a mix of digital means, physical flyer means, and customer communication to communicate.
Town as well. Town is on all of our social media platforms and on our website.
And I would add this, if I can, through the chair, the press, whatever we can do, we have somebody very good at this, is to get that word out. We certainly don't want anybody going out to wait for a bus that doesn't show up. So we're going to do everything we can publicly. And you must have cable access here, right? So, I'm a ham. I'll do any show you want. My nickname in softball is Hollywood. So we'll do whatever it takes to get that word out so no one's standing there thinking the bus is coming when it's not going to. But Leicester was one of the test models for the mobility thing, and not unlike any change, and especially seniors, and I was one of the younger ones then, it had its bumps, because change is change, and the older you get, the less you like that. But now they love it, and and I work a lot with our senior center and our director, and it's a model that once you get, like anything used to, it becomes so easy to make a phone call and in essence have a glorified cab pick you up. So it's going to be a matter of time. And depending on the state budget and the federal monies, which I'm not counting on, we'll be able to keep looking to grow. But at the same time, we've got the same squeeze you've got when you balance your budget. So we're being very honest with anybody we deal with. Here's what we got. But we'll do what we can.
So when you make an appointment for an elderly person with disabilities, they make the appointment, you pick them up at their residence?
Yes, it's a curb-to-curb service.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other question I have is the drivers. Will there be an open application for people to drive, and who does the query check? Who has the final say? Does it also involve our Council of Aging Director?
Yes, so the way that the program works is that the drivers are still town employees. So in this case, I believe that Northbridge hires part-time drivers, and so they would continue to be still Northbridge town employees. We provide the reimbursement for the wages, the FICA, the insurance, the fuel, provide the vehicle, the maintenance for the vehicle, and all of those things, but the driver themselves is still a town employee.
And, you know, people don't like change, and this particular operation where we had the West Regional Transit was with Paul Place, who was on the board, and we started this many years ago. I argued tooth and nail with Senator Moore and then Representative George Peterson because I was appalled at the fact that the state was assessing this community X amount of dollars every year because we were an ancillary community to the T, and we got nothing in return until finally, when I developed Patrick and Senator Moore and Representative George Peterson, we got that reversed, so now the MBTA charge is what was funding this in the early years and up until now. That's why I'm a little, change is different, but at least it's not being eliminated. And that this community will still get some service.
Exactly. And we've been part of this conversation, Kelly and I, the whole time, but I think maybe now is a good time to get into the model. I think what people need to understand, there's two parts to this. One is the elimination of the service, which is elimination is a very strong word, right? And then we're implementing something new, so it's almost, I'd hate to use the word elimination, but it's too late now, right? But we have a new model that there's many benefits to, and I'll let Josh go into that.
Thank you. So I might be repeating myself here a little bit, but thank you for
And
the
just
time.
if I can, through the chair, I look at it much more, and I'm always optimistic, but as opposed to elimination, it's a change.
Exactly.
And change is difficult, and change is often resisted, but change is often necessary. So here we are.
So as I shared, the MMM mobility management model is a response service for seniors, those with disabilities. It's basically a service for provide transportation options to towns with limited or no public transit options. The idea of this is basically the MMM is to help mitigate some of the challenges that the COAs face in providing transportation. Kelly's a difficult job enough, but now she's scheduling trips, making sure all that works. But the idea is basically WRTA takes over the passenger scheduling, the dispatching of the vehicle, and we use our own softwares to make sure that services are provided efficiently by grouping trips and using our own software. Again, we would own the vehicles, that we would procure the vehicles and maintain them. And the towns would be responsible for hiring the operators, the daily cleaning, the fueling, and usually insuring the vehicles. The towns can usually get a better insurance rate than we can as a transit operator. In terms of towns that participate, as Doug shared, certainly Leicester's part of that group. Auburn, we have Millbury, Northborough, which also provides service for Boylston, Oxford, Shrewsbury, Westboro, and West Boylston. So a number of communities are in the mobility management model. In terms of some of the way that this would work is basically the relationship between WRTA and the town and or the Northbridge COA. It'd be old people over 60 or with disabilities regardless of age. The service would be inside a van like you see today, and it'd be a shared ride. So it wouldn't just be one person being picked up. Typically, we got 2-3 people to make sure it's efficient as we possibly can. And these rides would be for medical appointments, grocery shopping, senior center events, and those types of trips. Some things would stay the same compared to what you have today. Is certainly anyone over 60 would still have those services. And services would be available to Northbridge Senior Center and other locations in town. Things that would be different for people is they would now be calling WRTA instead of Northbridge COA. The passengers would receive an automated call the night before with their pickup window. Let's say you're going to UMass Medical. We would say we'll pick you up between 9 and 9:20 in the morning. That gives the customer a little more awareness of when their trip's going to be. And also we would start providing more out-of-town medical services to Worcester, which is something that's very challenging to do with the existing, I think, budget and the way that things are being operated. And certainly any other out-of-town trips and hours could really be discussed between WRTA, COA, and the town. I certainly know that Milford and other areas have become more and more of an interest with this area, and we've worked with other communities that are kind of on our borders to talk about how we can operate to those areas. In terms of how it would work, basically people would call WRTA's paratransit office to register. They give us their name, their phone number, date of birth, their address. We'd also likely do some onboarding sessions at the COA, maybe during a lunch event where we get people's names and numbers. All the reservations would be made by calling our customer service office, PBSTM, by between 8 and 4:30 the day before. And people will either be picked up inside that WRTA branded vehicle that'll be operated by the town, and we also do have a taxi cab company for overflow trips. Individuals can bring a guest on board, or a family member, a PCA, et cetera. And again, they would get that automated call that night before. In terms of the reimbursement, again, just repeating this here a bit, we reimburse for the driver's wage, the FICA, the fuel, and the reimbursement. There'd be a report that would be submitted by the 15th of the following month, and then we'd write a check to the town to cover those expenses. And we'd work with the town to identify kind of the agreed upon funding levels each year. And drivers would continue to be employees of the town, in this case, part-time, and or if a decision is made.
Just can you add what's the cost to the person making the call?
Right now, it is fare free, so there's
Exactly.
$0 for anybody to take a WRTA demand response.
Just making sure that's out there.
And that's, I will add, that's an annual decision by our
Yeah,
board
for
based
sure.
on the budget.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, there'd be a contract between the town and WRTA. We'd work with the COA and the town to talk about service hours, driver hiring, retention, training, all of those things. We'd be developing outreach materials, flyers, brochures, cable access TV, and talk about how we can make sure people are all aware. Like to conduct some information centers at Senior Center or other places as identified. We'd likely be looking to start this sometime after the new year, January 1, 2027. The reason being is that we are right in the middle of a new demand response software procurement. So we're looking for a brand new scheduling software, which includes a lot more public-facing apps, passenger-facing apps like a ride or like an Uber or a Lyft, where people can track their van, book and schedule on their own without having to call anyone. So trying to get with the 21st century here. And that's what we got. Open to any questions.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll start down here with Selectman Ambergooman if you have anything
I would
additional.
like to get the Director Kelly Bolt's comments on how this is, how she feels about it.
Yeah, just to add, she does, we did include a letter at the end of your packet that has the support of the Council on Aging, and Kelly highlighted 4 things in bold, just in case you don't have it, but you do in front of you, but expanding the regional access, financial relief for everyone, local control over staffing, which is important in streamlined operations, but I'll let Kelly interject.
Thank you. Kelly Bowl, Director of Northbridge Council on Aging. So, yes, I know that this is a very, as we said, change is hard, and it's kind of a disappointment to many of the residents that have come to rely on the WRTA transportation. However, it being fiscally responsible, that the WRTA is, and also looking at my overall budget and the strains that transportation does have on us, this just seems like an excellent opportunity to expand, both for WRTA and for the Northbridge Council on Aging. And my understanding is if this all does happen and we go into contract with WRTA, we will be the 3rd busiest COA. That list of communities, we will be is that it? It would be the 3rd busiest. So that gives you an idea of the demand and the need for this type of service in our community, especially for those that are 60 or over and disabled. I do want to speak to those that will be impacted that don't meet that criteria. There are other groups that are looking at alternative transportation, and I won't get into too much, but we do recognize that transportation as a whole needs to be looked at beyond what was presented to you tonight.
Thank you. Anything further, Selectman Ambergooman? And thank you very much, Ms. Bolt.
Through the
Appreciate it.
chair, well said,
Yeah.
and well represented.
So
Selectman Sills?
I do have a couple questions. One kind of piggybacks off of what you just said. So is there going to be nothing from August 28th to January 1st?
No, so the.
Is there
the-
gonna be like other options for people, or?
For those that meet the criteria for 60 and over and disabled, they will continue or will use the Northbridge Council on Aging transportation.
We have two vans that operate now?
Two
So we have
vans.
two right now, and we're talking about adding a third. Is that correct? Or no, or just,
Yeah, so I think that's kind of
But-
part of that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, right now, we
You
have
don't
two
need to pull a
vans
third
that
chair out, feel
operate,
free.
that Kelly and the COA oversee. All dispatch goes through them, all pickups go through them, but this partnership is gonna expand on those two by,
Correct, yeah, so certainly that's gonna be part of the conversation of looking at the number of trips, looking at what the needs are here locally, what we have our vehicle available for resources, and understanding kind of what those needs are as a two vehicles, et cetera.
So the people that qualify for it won't see any difference on anything? It'll just keep going the same?
My understanding is that the Northbridge COA service will still be operating as normal until
Oh,
the
of course,
contract change.
absolutely, yes. It's just those that don't fit into the categories that we've mentioned
Yeah, those-
that will have
yeah.
to look for alternative transportation, unfortunately. But there are other resources out there, and I think we've made it pretty clear with our, the communication that has been sent out in the last several weeks that we're a resource, you can call us. If we can't meet the need of the person that's calling, we can refer that person to a resource that will fit their need. And the WRTA customer service line is also a good resource. So that we, again, we're hoping to, there will be gaps no matter what. And as Doug mentioned, change can be hard, but also if we keep doing the same thing that we're doing now, I'm gonna end up losing drivers because they're just so inundated right now. We need to have a model that works better for our people and the people we serve, yeah.
No, I agree. And the only other question I had was, now that these people have to call to make the appointment, can a family member make the call for them, or does it have to be that person?
No, a family
Yeah,
member
it can
can
be-
call, absolutely.
And then you said that at some point it's gonna be like on an app where you can just sign up for it or anything like that?
Exactly, yeah. You'll still have to register with us, but it will be more of like an Uber or Lyft app where you can track your vehicle, see what's going on.
Do you
book
think
a trip,
that'll
et
be
cetera.
after January 1st?
That's why
Yeah.
I'm putting that date on there,
Okay.
because I have a procurement on the street as we speak for that.
All right.
And the one thing I failed to mention, just take the opportunity to, is we certainly do provide the vehicles. But in addition to that, let's say one of the vehicles is in for an oil change or something like that, we have spare vehicles. So it's not like the town would be short because the vehicle's getting work done. So we have extras as well.
So you can see just in the COA budget itself, the savings that we will be receiving, because we're getting reimbursed, essentially, that's going to free up money in the budget to do other things, to maybe hire another part-time staff person. I'm going to need probably a couple of more drivers. So it will, as I said, give me a little bit more flexibility within my budget, which is huge.
How much time is it gonna free up for you?
A lot. Right now, I am the dispatcher and the scheduler, and so
driver.
for me to be able to free this up to build a new senior center, it will be huge, and would be much appreciated by myself, so.
All set? Awesome. I do just have one quick question. I know you said that right now there's no fee to use the service and that it's visited every year, I believe you said, by WRTA. Has there ever been a fee? If so, what did that look like? How much was it? Any information like that you could provide?
Yeah, so the fixed route fare, so the bus fare is $1.75. So typically what would happen is like a demand response ADA trip would be 2 times that fare per federal rules. We can charge up to 2 times, it'd be $3.50 one way or $7 round trip. So it certainly was a cost to it. But because of the funding, the fare-free funding we received from the state, we've been able to make this fare-free since 2020 through a mix of CARES
on
Act
wood.
and
We like being the leaders. Through the chair, I'd like to say that this board, to a person, supports fare-free, but has that same obligation you have. Each year, we get a budget and we do our thing. we're talking about $5 million a year that we don't collect. And really, it's closer to 10. I usually figure if we ever went back to fairs, it'd be $1. That's just my personal stance, because I don't want to go back to 175 or 2 or whatever. It'd be a shock to the system. We have a lot of people that need this for social reasons, doctors shopping, so it's a necessary thing if we're required. If we just plain have to for budget, it'll still be lower, in my opinion, and I think I speak for a lot of the board, it'd be lower, but it's still year to year, because we don't know from the state till almost late year to year, like you wait for your cherry sheet numbers. After we do our budgets and guess, we figure it out. But it's a matter of being responsible, that we just can't say, because there are groups that come to us all the time and they want to, why can't we do this like forever? It's because, I don't know, tell me how much money we're going to get forever. If we do our state budget and you give me a projection increase by 10% every year, where do I sign? But that's not happening. So we try to be very transparent and very open to people that we want to. Morally, we support it, but financially, like you and me and the rest of us, we got to balance these things, so.
Appreciate it. And just to kind of give my 2 cents on all of this, I think you kind of hit on big focal point across Massachusetts right now. It seems like the demand for these services, or any service, is constantly increasing, but the resources that we have, whether they be employees, fiscal resources, or that pool is constantly becoming smaller and smaller. I mean, the way I see it, I very much understand that change is going to have some obstacles for some folks. That's just by nature. But I even was joking with the town manager. I said, this seems almost to me like a cost-effective Uber or Lyft, as you alluded to. And particularly for some of our more vulnerable communities. I mean, one that really came in mind for me was disabled veterans. And I truly like the fact that they're going to be able to go to Worcester, see doctors there, things like that. I really do think that this proposal, while obviously we would prefer no changes to happen, this really does kind of leave us with something good and tangible that we can count on to make sure that our residents are getting the services that they need. So I appreciate you guys coming in and continuously giving us updates on it, and appreciate everything you've done, Mrs. Bowl, to make sure this gets implemented properly. Thank you. Unless there's anything else from any board members?
Thanks,
Thank
team.
you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Does the town manager have anything for tonight?
I do not.
Moving into selectmen's concerns,
Good to see you.
Selectman Ampabumian.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I caught everybody.
Mr. DPW Director,
Good evening.
I just got a couple questions. I noticed on Church Street, there are markings on the street, orange. What are we doing?
Right on Church Street, we were approached by a state-funded, sort of a Verizon, a communications network from down at the senior center on Lake Ave to the one on Church Street, where they're putting in a telecommunication line for seniors. It's micro digging, so they're not digging up the road. It's just a little trench they're putting in a line, just waiting for all the paperwork to come back.
Okay. What's the progress on the Sutton Street, 122 School Street interchange?
The TIP project, it's in the state's hands. They have the 25% submission. We're waiting to hear back from them on that. It's in the hands of our engineers as we speak. There's been some questions back and forth. We're waiting to get to the 50 and 75% design, which is still ongoing. We just signed up with Howard Stein Hudson.
That reminds me, we have to add an article.
Yep.
One of the things that we have to do is we need to have an article placeholder for authorization for the Board of Selectmen to acquire temporary construction easements, I think at like 12 or 13
Yeah.
locations for that, so.
Very small ones on the
Asking
design.
if you guys can amend your previous vote and add, we need to add an article, a placeholder, and then, so the plan would be to get the authorization, then for us to go through the right-of-way process with the butters, letting them know what we'll be doing, and then the project going out to bid next spring, and then going from there, so.
I amended to what the town manager
Yes,
just said.
please, I would like you to do that, thank you.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. It's been amended.
Yeesh, yeesh, been a long day. But yeah.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
And And Church Street Extension, Stone Bridge?
Church Street, actually, they just mobilized. The state, if you remember correctly, was gracious enough to grant us, it was over $500,000 for repairs of the two bridges on Church Street Extension, as well as the one on Linwood Ave. Met with them last Friday on site. They have actually begun mobilization right now, S&W Construction. Those bridges, it was emphasized, they will not be closed. They will work one lane at a time. So that's where we're at right now. They're just mobilizing and starting work. They want to get it done by the winter, but I don't want to speak for them and say that's going to be the completion date, but that they're mobilized right now.
That's it.
Selectman Pagumi, or Selectman Salzo, excuse me, it has been a long
I
time.
did. I had one more question for this guy, so Mike doesn't get inundated with questions on Facebook. Can you give an update on the Linwood
I can
Ave,
give you an update
project?
as we stand today. You know, we have to wait till July 1st, obviously, when we go out for our bidding for roads. With the celebration of the fireworks, you know, originally the company wanted to get into that week. It wasn't gonna work out. We couldn't have a road dug up with dirt, and if God forbid it ever rained and all that issue that would've happened, it got postponed 2 weeks. Unfortunately, that week it rained 2 to 3 days. We got bumped until this week because they were fully aware that we needed asphalt down by the beginning of school, which gives us till next week. That's why today you saw them mobilizing. Right now, they finished up the reclamation on Linwood Ave. They'll be grading it tomorrow. Then they're bringing in a miller on Thursday. They're gonna mill the rest of Linwood Ave, the lower half, and as well as the upper half up to 122. They'll be base coating that on Friday. And God willing, everything gets done because the weather looks like it's gonna hold out, and we'll have everything done by the start of school. At the very least, everything will be based and traffic won't be impacted because we can always have a lane open while we're paving. Now, we're still coming up with plans to do the Walmart intersection, which is a little trickier. It's much easier to mill that area during the day, but we can't have trucks driving over it when we pave it, so we're gonna be working with Walmart as well as National Grid, let them aware that we're gonna try and do a night pave there, just to cuts down on the amount of truck traffic, because you can't have them tractor trailers turn on fresh asphalt, or that intersection is gonna look similar to what it looks like now. Once we finish that, we will be getting into the Whiten neighborhood as promised, and a couple other areas that we're gonna target. And I'm happy to say that the John Circle area was done. I know only half of Delmar was done, but like we told the residents, it was a deal with Eversource. They did the vast majority of that neighborhood, actually a lot more than I originally had bargained for, so we will go in after this fact, and once we start the neighborhoods, do the second half of Delmar and Paul Place, so they will be completed curb to curb, as we stated earlier in the spring. Just taking a little longer. I couldn't get Eversource to do everything. They went above and beyond. I was impressed with the communication, so that's where we're at.
Good.
Awesome. No questions for me. I just wanted to congratulate the Armenian Apostolic Church on another successful Armenian picnic. I know a lot of residents look forward to that every year. And with that,
I got one more thing.
oh, shoot.
It's for you.
Go ahead.
Since you're an ex officio member of the Soldiers Memorial Trustee, at your next meeting, could you bring up the POW flag at the Vietnam Memorial?
I will mention it tomorrow.
We actually are all, that's already being
We've
taken.
been working on that for
We've
a
been
few
working on that. The problem is the top of the pole's busted, and Mike DeFazio has gone out to the company that originally did that work long before I was here, so we're just looking to get a replacement piece, and we'll work with the fire department to get that piece up. That's why there's no flag up there right now. The top of it snapped off wherever the eye leader was, so we're actively dealing with that as we speak.
It's not the flag, it's the part that holds the flag.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.